Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 3 in my series of Back to the Future PlayStation 3 online gaming in the year 2023. It is hard to believe, but the PlayStation 3 is going on 17 years old. It was first released in 2006, but in the year 2023, there are plenty of online gaming and players that are still on this system. You will see 18 different games that can be played on your console today. In the video description, you'll see timestamps for your viewing pleasure. And if you've been itching to play some of your PS3, the time is now. I say this because there are certain video games that will be shutting its servers down for good in the coming months. With that said, buckle up, get your popcorn ready. Let's explore the games that can be played online for your PlayStation 3 in the year 2023. I want to make a quick note regarding Arkham Origins on PlayStation 3. In my part 1 video of this series, I showcased video gameplay of that game and it's online. Unfortunately, as of August 1st of 2023, that game is no longer playable online. However, there is hope. It turns out that the Steam/PC version of Arkham Origins shares similar data, information, and network services as the PS3 version of the game. The individual named Kiwifruit Dev is currently looking into the PlayStation 3 version. He and his team were able to bring back a custom authentication server for Arkham Origins for the PC version of the game, but again, it is currently something that's being looked into, and we'll see what happens in the future. There's no guarantees, no assurances that Arkham Origins Online for PS3 will come back. However, at least there is some optimism, especially for us players on the PlayStation 3. If I happen to discover any new updates and further information, I'll be sure to let all of you know. Having said all that, let's get to the main feature and check out what games can be played online on your PlayStation 3 in the year 2023. We are here. This is some Battlefield Bad Company 1 for PlayStation 3. This game originally came out on June 23rd, 2008, and I want to say around the same time in Europe regions. Unfortunately, I skipped out the Battlefield Bad Company games, just like I did with the Call of Duty Black Ops games and World at War until recently. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I recently discovered both Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 1943, their servers are slated to be shut down on December 8th, 2023. Fortunately though, there are people out there that are interested in looking at reviving this game for its online purposes at some point. I've actually gone out of my way and I've captured data packets for this game, which basically means I've captured the network traffic of sending and receiving information, and I've uploaded and sent these packets to revival groups for when the time is right. They'll be able to look at this game and possibly revive it. Again, there's no assurances, guarantees, but if it's like any other games that we've seen on PS3 come back to life, there's always a chance. There's always hope. The main Battlefield games I have enjoyed in the past were Battlefield 1943 on the computer. There were so many LAN parties I participated in, bringing an old little computer and seeing how we do against other classmates in the computer lab. Another great classic that just came back and revived is Battlefield 2 Modern Combat for the PlayStation 2. That game still holds up quite well, and there are a lot of players playing that actively. I did make a video about that a few months ago if you want to check the little notification in the top right corner. And of course, Battlefield 1943, that is on PS3. I had a lot of fun showcasing that game in my last video, in part 2. And more recently, revisiting Battlefield 3 on PS3, and that game is quite alive and well, and Battlefield 4 on computer and PlayStation 4. My first impressions so far with Bad Company 1 are quite great. I like how this game just starts off. It doesn't seem to take itself too serious from the little bits of the campaign that I've played, but online, oh my goodness, there are players that are just out for blood. When it comes to the online game modes, I did get a chance to play some of the Gold Rush mode. I'm not sure if this was the game that started Rush. My memory when it comes to game modes where things have started with Battlefield, not the greatest. Exception is the Conquest mode. That is one of my favorites and perhaps is the bread and butter of the Battlefield franchise, where you capture objectives, you want to remove as many enemy tickets as possible, and whoever has a ticket or multiple tickets left, you are the winner. What really did surprise me, according to what I was reading on some internet forums and some discords, that Battlefield Bad Company 1 wasn't too populated as of late. Fortunately, in this match here, I found a solid game. It's not a full match where it's 12v12, which is a total of 24 players, but with 7v7, so a total of 14 players, I thought it was overall good, and for the size of this map that I'm playing on, it didn't feel empty, it didn't feel barren. I was able to find enemies quite quickly. Overall, it was a fun time playing this game, and I do think with more players likely going to be hopping on when the server approaches the shutdown date. So be on the lookout. Definitely give this game a shot. Totally worth it. And if you've been playing for years, please let me know in the comment section. I do enjoy this game. I definitely want to play more of it. And like I said, this game will be shutting down on December 8th, 2023. The time is now to get your Battlefield Bad Company 1 fix. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Battlefield Bad Company 2 for PlayStation 3 is still online and alive and well. Unfortunately, this game, like the first Bad Company, is slated to be shut down on December 8th, 2023. But man, I just jumped into a game and would you look at it, we have multiple players online playing this game, even being, I think, 12, 13 years old at this point, still looking quite good. And like I said in the first Bad Company, I totally missed out. It was not in my orbit. It was not in my wavelength to play Battlefield Bad Company 2 when this first released. At that time, I want to say I was occupied with other Call of Duty games, Resistance series at the time, and I think even some Crysis games were going on around then. When I was doing my research for this game, I saw a lot of positive people saying there's a lot of players, and yes, there are a lot of players playing this game still. And in fact, I actually got a chance to speak to a couple people actually with microphones in this game for the first time in a long time. It's really neat to hear people and voice their opinions, so let me just pass it off to them and you'll hear some commentary from me.
CQ, come in, Nose, come in.
Hello.
Chelsea.
Yeah, roger that, big buddy. Yeah.
It's so cool to hear people talk on PlayStation 3 because it's kind of a rarity.
Ain't no rarity here, is it, Nose?
That's good.
No.
You're gonna be telling us to shut up pretty soon.
Yeah, right now I'm actually helping out with online preservation for this game in a way. I'm capturing data packets right now, and I send it to the online groups that are interested. One team actually recently revived Battlefield 2 Modern Combat for PlayStation 2. That game's back online.
Oh, so people are doing that, actually.
Yeah.
You better hurry. You better hurry because half the guys you're going to be playing with are going to be dead in like 10 years. So we're all over 50.
Hey.
Let's hope not.
I'm
With it.
75. Hey, Chelsea, I'm 75.
75? No, you're not.
Man, I'm a baby then. Oh my.
Oh my God,
46.
yeah.
46 is the year I was born.
Yeah, that's not the year you are. You don't sound like 75.
No, not at all. That's...
Does he? Not at all? Yeah.
No, not at all.
Wow. Yeah, he's actually... He died like 10 years ago.
My wife says I'm still like a 12-year-old.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, man.
Oh no, I'm younger. I'm only 32. So,
yeah, I think I'm sure there's like the max, the norm is like 30s, but I think it's our generation. As an American, I can say this, but is that, you know, we really were into this whole army thing, you know, when we were kids.
Okay, yeah.
You know, the plastic army man, the G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
I think that really has a lot to do with it, with the older guys playing. Noel, did you play anything else besides this?
I tried 1943 the other day, and that's still running.
Yep, 1943 is still up and running pretty good. A lot of people at any time, it seemed, when I was playing.
We didn't make it.
Didn't make it, yeah.
We didn't make it. It happens, though, man.
But I gotta get ready to call it a night. But I had a lot of fun chatting with you guys and knowing that the PS3 Battlefield Bad Company is online still. That's cool. I enjoyed that.
There's some great guys out there to chat with. That guy that was on the other team a minute ago, Hulkin, he's cool. He's from, like, Europe somewhere.
Oh, right on, yeah.
Knows where's he from? Sweden or something? Or Denmark? Denmark, maybe.
Yeah, Denmark. It sounds like the chef from out of Sesame Street.
I don't know that one.
Right on. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your games. It was a pleasure playing with you.
Thanks, Dorian. We'll see you around for sure.
Take care.
Maybe PlayStation 5.
Well, and there you have it. There are still players playing Battlefield Bad Company 2 on PS3. Had some good chats, good laughs right there. And just a reminder, both Battlefield Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, the server shutdown is going to be in December. I want to say December 8th, but I'll correct this in post. But undoubtedly, I had a great time playing Battlefield Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2.
Armor mode engaged. Stealth mode engaged.
Who remembers the days of going into a computer shop with the mindset of building a brand new computer, getting their list to their liking, but then coming down to the question that really mattered most? Can it run Crysis? Hello, guys. We are now in Crysis 3. Crysis 3 came out in 2013. I remember the days of Crysis on PC being exclusive. It would never come out to a video game console, but then it did. I certainly remember those days with only 8 gigabytes of RAM, maybe a 500 gigabyte hard drive, a quad-core Intel, and likely a GTX 560, 570. Yeah, I remember those days. Anyway, with all that said and done, we are playing Crysis 3 on the PlayStation 3. According to EA.com and their service updates, it states that September 7th, 2023, Crysis for the PS3, Xbox 360, Steam, and the EA app will be shutting its servers down. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play much of Crysis 3 on PlayStation 3. At that time, I was primarily into PC gaming, and I had built a computer that was capable of running Crysis 1, 2, and 3, and I thought the multiplayer was quite enjoyable, especially on the PC side of things. So this is actually my first look and taste of Crysis 3 multiplayer on the PlayStation 3 system. It took about 5 minutes to find a game. In that 5 minutes, I would be jumped around from one room with one person and then backed out, and then with another person and backed out. And then luckily, we found this room where we had several players. I figured that the easiest way to find a game was through deathmatch. I didn't check out Team Deathmatch or its other modes because it didn't have any luck finding any. I'm guessing that would probably be best through some sort of organized event through Discord or other social media means. I'm not sure if it was my internet connection at the time of recording, but I did notice there was quite a bit of severe rubber banding. And what I mean by that, you would see enemies run forward and then get pulled back, or they would be running forward, running on the spot for a second, and then they would go forward or to the left, to the right. It was a bit weird. My first impression of this is actually quite good. I had a lot of fun. You got your classic cloak mode, which basically makes you invisible for other enemies to see, but I didn't find that very useful. Maybe in other modes it's a little bit easier to use, but at least in deathmatch, I didn't see that very effective. The armor mode, I always enable that anytime I get close into a firefight, or if someone's shooting at me, it seems to help give you that quick buff. And headshots in this game, I don't know what to say about them. They seem to be kind of hit and miss, but then again, I'm not entirely sure if it's my internet connection or it's this lobby that was hosted somewhere else in the world that wasn't in North America. I didn't get a chance to try out the alien specific weapons in Crysis 3 multiplayer, but if you guys have, let me know if they're quite enjoyable. Just for this match, I was just rocking the classic assault rifle and the pistol whenever I needed to, along with the shotgun. As I stated earlier about the server shutting down on September 7th, 2023, I also did some data packet captures for this game. Essentially what that means is, if there's a chance for this game to be revived, data packets of the network traffic from sending and receiving communications from our PlayStation 3 to the servers may be influenced and helpful in reviving the game through a private server. I don't know of any group in particular that's actively looking at doing this, but I'm hopeful at some point, if there is, the packets that I captured can be a catalyst in reviving this online experience. Well, if you guys happen to have Crysis 3 on your PlayStation 3, again, time is ticking. The time is now if you want to play this multiplayer online before it goes offline. It's a bummer that servers do get shut down, and I know EA certainly has a lot of moolah to make from all the Madden cards and FIFA cards, but hey, it is what it is. I also recently stumbled upon that there's a Crysis trilogy that's been remastered for the modern day consoles. Unfortunately, it looks like those games do not include any multiplayer. Again, it's a true bummer to see that some of these games that had these native features in their original base game do not have them available in their current generation remasters. But we're curious to see where online gaming preservation will be in the next 5 to 10 years, and if this game does come back online, more power to the player. When I was brainstorming of what games I wanted to record and catalog for part 3 of this video, I discovered Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno, from what I understand, had only a single-player game experience at launch back in February of 2010. However, there was some downloadable content called Trials of St. Lucia that arrived around April 29th of 2010. This piece of downloadable content allows 2 players to play in co-op. One player can play as Dante, and a second player can play as St. Lucia. There are specific trials that EA actually created for both players to participate in, and there were user-created trials in this game. It was recently brought to my attention that the St. Lucia DLC that I'm mentioning is now no longer available on the North American PlayStation Store. That is a true bummer, seeing something like that being delisted. But as far as I know, if you do live in the European Union or United Kingdom, it looks like it's still available through what's called the Super Bundle Edition. Unfortunately, Dante's Inferno is another EA title that is slated for a server shutdown. The date is December 8th, 2023, just like Battlefield Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 1943. Get in there while it's hot, because once the server shuts down, who knows if there will be a server revival. But like I've done for the last couple games, as I mentioned, I did capture data packets, uploaded them to the proper channels and communication of people, and who knows if we'll see it come back to life. So again, get in while it's hot for Dante's Inferno. December 8th, 2023 is the server shutdown date. As someone that's not ever played Dante's Inferno, I decided to play the trial by EA called A Sunday Affair. After hosting this game for about 1 hour, I had no luck anyone joining me. It might be because of the time, it because of the day, but I was on a weekend Friday night. Unfortunately, I had no luck having any random player to join me, so I invited my brother, who graciously gave me his time, and we got to play some Dante's Inferno together. The footage that you're seeing here, I'm playing as Dante, my brother is playing as St. Lucia, And I gotta say, my first initial impressions are this game does feel quite familiar in terms of the hack and slash beat 'em up like God of War on the PlayStation 2, and that's a good thing. God of War is one of my favorite PlayStation 2 and overall PlayStation franchises. Dante's Inferno definitely made a solid first impression. The combat felt great and smooth, as well as the cool effects. And I didn't get a chance to play as St. Lucia, but it looks like she has some other different moves and power-ups and special abilities compared to Dante. So this particular wave was giving my brother and I some trouble. Basically, the goal is to not take any damage whatsoever. As you can see, the enemies, they don't stop coming, and it's pretty chaotic. But fortunately, I started to learn about all the other magic abilities that Dante has. Like this one here seems to give me a little bit of a buff and protection. My brother's using the high aerial attacks, vaulting the enemies into the air, slicing and dicing them quite good. I gotta say, I think this was my favorite wave out of 6, wave number 5, called Kill 'Em All. The objective is clearly just kill them all, right? These two guys here with the fire axes, and they were on fire, were giving my brother and I a bit of trouble, but after understanding some of the magic abilities, Dante has this ice ability where you cast it, and it puts them on the cool side where you can start slicing and dicing them to hell. It is super satisfying. I wish I could have been able to press R2 and do one of those nice finishers, but my brother and I were just hacking away and we got that sweet victory. So this particular wave took me a little bit longer with my brother, but after we found out what we had to do, what was the secret sauce on these shield guys, things were flying. All you have to do is cast your cross, break their shields, and then just take your time hacking and slashing. These guys seem to take a lot of hits non-stop. It didn't take very long for me to get my melee combo up to number 25. I gotta say, my first time playing Dante's Inferno through the St. Lucia trials with my brother, I had a blast. It makes me want to check out the story, see all the weapon upgrades you can do. I'm sure there's some really neat combos that you can pop off and some probably neat gory scenes. But with that said, again, I just want to remind you guys, if you want to check out this game, the St. Lucia Trials and Dante's Inferno, the time is now, because on December 8th of 2023, the servers will be shutting down on the PlayStation 3. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Holy smokes, Assassin's Creed 3. This game came out on October 30th, 2012 in North America. I remember buying this game day one. I was excited to play it, especially because of the story mode, what was going on with the main character named Desmond, and all the lore that was going on. It was quite fascinating and exciting. This is quite strange. Many Ubisoft titles are coming back online for the PlayStation 3. And let's not forget about Assassin's Creed Revelations, which is a direct prequel to Assassin's Creed 3. I honestly don't know why they're coming back, but carpe diem, seize the day. So if you guys enjoyed Assassin's Creed 3 back in the day, the time is now if you want to get your fix. I haven't seen any official statements from Ubisoft stating as to why these games are coming back online, nor have I seen any statements about these games going offline again. This game originally went offline on October 1st, 2022. It's Friday evening. I'm thinking that there might be some players online. I will tell you guys, it took a little while to get to the lobby that I am in this part of my video. What happened was, my game would automatically start searching for a lobby. I would join someone's lobby, but then it would say that we don't have enough players to start, so it would boot me back into the main menu. I would have to go through the process of finding another game to find, but after about 5 to 10 minutes fighting with that, it brought us here into this game. As someone that hasn't played a whole lot of Assassin's Creed multiplayer since Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I was kind of familiar what I had to do. In this particular mode, I'm playing deathmatch with 4 other players. The objective is to eliminate and kill your targets, but you also have to be wary of other targets hunting you down. It's not like your typical deathmatch though. Again, you are killing your other enemies, but you want to do it in style. You want to be inconspicuous. You want to do it stealthy. You get rewarded points for each time you eliminate in a stealthy manner. However, what you guys just saw there, that wasn't too stealthy at all. I was chasing that person and then I eliminated them. In the top right corner of the screen, you'll see the name and the portrait of the target I'm looking for. Also, there's a little bar that says discreet. Basically, you want to get that bar full as possible and then eliminate your target because you'll get the most amount of points from that elimination. However, you'll see right now my target's ahead, but someone actually stole my target and killed them. So now I'm going to have to look for another target, but at the same time, I gotta be wary of another enemy trying to hunt me down. There's a lot of cat and mouse tactics in Assassin's Creed multiplayer. Basically, you want to be patient, you want to be stealthy, but at the same time, you gotta be wary of your surroundings. For example, my particular target that I needed to kill stunned me. Now I've lost that opportunity and I need to go find another target. I'm doing my best to blend in like an NPC AI character. I'm using the fast walk but trying not to expose myself by looking like I'm running around. As you can see, the guy behind me here, he's just knocking people out. He's also climbing up the building. You could definitely tell that is an official real live player. So I see my target here. I didn't mean to sprint right there, but I still got him with the hatchet. I did get a little bit of bonus and I'll take that. Undoubtedly, I will surely tell you that Assassin's Creed multiplayer is a unique experience that I do think is worth checking out. To the best of my knowledge, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the last Assassin's Creed that had a multiplayer mode like this. However, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I know one of the Assassin's Creed games after Black Flag had some online, but I think it was a cooperative mode. But again, please correct me if I'm wrong. Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer requires patience, but it rewards you in the end. As you can see, it's a unique time with other players, and hopefully if you're able to find a match like I did, you can find some enjoyment and satisfaction. I will definitely be keeping a close eye on these Ubisoft titles. If I have any other updates, if servers go offline, I'll be sure to make a quick little video or post regarding it. But for the time being, get in while it's hot. Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer is still online in the year 2023 for your PlayStation 3. You didn't think we were going to stop at Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed 3, did ya? Well, we got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Ghost Recon Future Soldier for the PlayStation 3 came out on May 22nd, 2012. Another game from 2012. I'm starting to see some similarities going on. Anyway, this game is a title that I didn't get to play very much during its prime, but I heard it was kind of underrated and it has a niche community on the PC. But this game went offline, I want to say, around the same time as Assassin's Creed 3. According to Ubisoft's website, it states on October 1st, 2022, the PlayStation 3 servers were shut down. Like I mentioned in Assassin's Creed 3, I have no idea how long these servers will be up. I don't believe Ubisoft has stated any reason as to why they're back up, but for the time being, if you like your Tom Clancy Ghost Recon games, hop on, the time is now. Unfortunately, my luck ran out on this game. I had no luck finding any players that wanted to play. However, I did invite my brother to come and play with me, and he was graciously enough, gave his time. We played just one match of some Siege mode, which is a PvP, player versus player mode, and then we switched over to some online co-op campaign story. Perhaps at some point, one of the discords that I'm a part of, I'm thinking about PlayStation 3 Online and LAN Discord. They might organize an event for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, some player versus player team-based modes. But again, right now, I only managed to capture just the one little multiplayer section with my brother earlier, and now we're doing some online co-op campaign. Again, I didn't really play much of Ghost Recon Future Soldier back in its prime, but I do like the fact that this game has online co-op and it's part of the campaign. There's something about that I really enjoyed during the PlayStation 3 era. There were many games that were doing that online and they did it well, and I'm glad this game is back online where I can experience this in online story co-op. It's something unique. It reminds me of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas, where that's a game that I played a lot of, but I really enjoyed the online cooperative play. Having one teammate, he would be organizing with his group, Bravo Squad, and I would be rocking the Alpha Squad, and we would try to converge on a certain enemy at the same time and have that amazing experience. I quite enjoyed this following moment in the video here. Basically, we're stacking up, we're checking out where our VIP is, we see our enemy targets, and we have to place our shots well. Basically, this goes into like a Max Payne-like moment where there's like slow-mo going on, and we eliminate our targets and save the VIP. In the power of editing, my brother and I managed to do this on our third try. We were making a few gaffe mistakes, but it's all good. All in all, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier is back online for your PlayStation 3. Like I said, the servers are technically offline according to Ubisoft, but they are back online. I have no idea how long this will be around for. Maybe someone at Ubisoft decided to turn a switch back on, and hopefully they'll stay on for a little while. And another thing I will say is I did manage to capture the data packets for this game, as well as all the games that you've seen so far, and hope that online preservation can continue. And if in the event it goes offline, there might be a backup server down the road. Man, oh man, it's been a long time since I played any driver game. I want to say one of my first driver games was on the PlayStation 1. I think it was Driver 2. Yeah, I think it was Driver 2. And then I remember playing another one I rented back in the day called Driver Parallel Lines on the original Xbox console. We are now diving into some Driver San Francisco. Driver San Francisco came out on August 30th, 2011. My goodness gracious, it hasn't really been that long. That's wild to think that. It only feels like it was a couple of years ago when this game came out. As with Assassin's Creed 3, Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and Splinter Cell Blacklist, Driver San Francisco was another game that was recently turned back on from Ubisoft, even though on Ubisoft's official website it states that Driver San Francisco servers were shut down on October 1st, 2022. My initial thoughts on Driver San Francisco's online is that it's quite interesting. You gain experience points, and when you have a certain experience amount of points accumulated, you level up. And the online has certain ranks that you obtain. If you could reach a certain rank, you would be able to participate in other game modes. From the very start, you're at 0, and you can only do quick match. I'm not sure if quick match was only limiting me from finding other matches with other players, or there weren't too many players that were participating, but we leveled up pretty quick. My friend Land161 participated and joined with me in this session, and we ranked up quite a bit. I quickly want to just take a moment and shout out my pal Land161. I've known Land for almost probably 6-7 years now. We first met on PlayStation 3 GTA 5 when I was broadcasting on Twitch. It was a lot of fun. Land streams quite often on Twitch, games like The Crew. I know there's a new Crew Motorfest, I think that's coming out, or it might be in beta, I can't remember. But he also likes his Tekken games. He's been up in doing some fighting, his wrestling games, and of course Gran Turismo, where he is all about the simulation value. I will have all his links and social media in the description down below. Thank you again there, Land. I'm going to pass over some of the commentary to my pal Land and I while we were playing this. It was quite fun. There's different little game modes. The mode that we are playing is called Trailblazer right now, where our objective is to follow the DeLorean, the Back to the Future car, and try to get as much of its trails As you can see in the top left corner, I have a certain amount of points right now, but yeah, other players are going to be trying to get that points from you. Man, that DeLorean is just avoiding all the traffic. It's hard for me to even catch up right now.
Yep, I just crashed. I'm gonna switch to something else.
Oh, Jaded Ward. Oh, this was he here the whole time? I don't know.
Ooh, I'm in the Mach 1 Mustang. Oh, the DeLorean all over the place.
There we go. A little bit of the little draft there. Oh, oh. This car is on its last little bar of life. I could see it.
Rest in peace.
My poor James Bond, the Aston Martin DB5, is just holding on by a thread. Hold on a sec. Whoa, land, be careful.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man, that was close. I only got, like, nothing
Audi
left.
A4.
Let me just get that draft off you. Back to the future car. Dorian in the DeLorean one day. I hope I can test drive one of those. Never got a chance. I saw it at TwitchCon. Those were fun. There was an actual, I remember on PlayStation 1, there was a James Bond racing game, 007 Racing. And it was trying to do like the greatest hits of all the movies at the time that had driving sequences. And it was okay.
I mean,
at
it's just
best.
like all Aston Martins.
Pretty much. I think there was a Beamer in there from Pierce Brosnan.
Z8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Z8 here in the
You
States.
remember how I did a Bond kick back on Twitch when I was streaming then? Yeah, that was definitely a game I was looking at checking out at some point. The 007 Racing for PS1.
Oh,
Hey,
level
would you look
2.
at that? We got a couple more players with us. TNT, Faisal, and Cavale97. No one seems to talk on PlayStation 3, I noticed, man. I don't know what's going on.
TNT Faisal.
Yeah, I was asking
in a yellow
the
bird.
players in Bad Company too. I asked them, how come you still play on PS3? You know, so many people have moved on to, you know, a little bit of PS4, but mainly PS5 or stuff that's more modern. And they said, the guy said, who needs to? This game, or this system just is free still, and they enjoy it. I said, fair enough, yeah.
Yep. That's a good answer.
Yeah, like, ever since the PS4,
Well, they got
they
it on
had that
PC
PS
as
Plus,
well.
right? That costs money. Oh, man, I got...
That's why Bad Company, then one, that would be more of a loss, because that's console only.
Yeah, it's never came out on computer. I wonder why they never brought it over on the computer side, their land. Quite strange, huh? Yeah, I would see you, I think in, was it one of the two games? You would be rocking the one of the Ford Raptors, I think.
Oh yeah,
Is it
Gran
Forza?
Turismo.
Or Gran Turismo, okay.
Yeah. Gran Turismo, do the truck racing online. Usually things get pretty dirty in that one.
Whoa, got spun out.
Whoa, I had to touch the DeLorean there. Oh shit. I was hitting in the TNT.
Oh, I got myself a
I gotta
truck, a
seize the
GMC
opportunity.
Sierra. Seize the day.
Cash in my money in the bank. Ooh, I was getting a good amount of points that time. Uh-oh.
Oh, they're on your tail
Uh-oh.
right now.
Oh.
TNT
Oh, I got
Faisal.
taken out, but I'm still within the trail somewhat. Somehow I'm still within the
Oh,
trail.
right into that tanker.
Oh no, this McLaren wanna go all over the DeLorean.
I feel like I'm one of those Sunday drivers right now, just making reckless mistakes and
see.
everything, crashing into you, getting zapped. This is fine. Oh,
Oh, we
Stonewall.
fight.
Okay.
Damn, we were all pretty close actually.
Oh, I just crashed
We
into
were
that
all
DeLorean.
fighting.
Damn.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna be a good one. Where's this DeLorean going? Oh, I'm close. Can I get it? Oh, I think I got it.
Oh, nice one, Land.
Ah, yeah, that was a good one. 189.85.
Yeah, TNT guys, he keeps on trying to wreck everyone. You know what there guys, all in all, I had some fun playing Driver San Francisco on PlayStation 3. It was my first time, and the online overall ran pretty sweet and solid. My friend Lan came through, I had a blast playing with him, and then those two other players, Faisal and Kaveo, I hope I'm pronouncing their names right, but we got to play with some other players around the world, had some good racing, and a lot of these mini games. I think the trailblazing mode is probably my favorite little mini game that I've played so far, where you gotta follow the trail of the DeLorean and get as many points as you can. But all in all there guys, Driver San Francisco for the time being is back online for the PlayStation 3. Give it a shot, it's pretty neat. Maybe we can organize a Discord or event night with this game, it would be fun. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Ridge Racer! Remember that one?
Ridge Racer! I had to find my inner Kaz Harai. Okay guys, we are playing some Ridge Racer 7. This game came out on November of 2006 in North America. This in fact was a launch title for the PlayStation 3. I've not ever played Ridge Racer before prior to this game, but I gotta say, first impression, this game looks actually not too bad. And again, this game is going on, how old? 17 years old? It still looks pretty decent. It did not take long to find another player in this game. That was truly awesome on a Friday night. The game is definitely arcadey. As you'll see right here, I'm able to take these turns no problem. It reminds me of those toy cars with the remote, not a remote control car, but it's a RC car that's on a track and you got a little dial and you just gotta take those turns smooth. But yeah, in this game with the Ridge Racer, you're able to take turns super smooth on the dime. Like right now, here we go with TCR Legend. Those drifts, it feels like I'm on a track, but it's kind of satisfying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if this game supports microphones or headsets for that matter. I tried talking to TCR Legend, but it didn't look like there was any microphone indicator that I had one plugged in or it was working. But I've been trying to talk to all different players on these different games, but unfortunately I had no luck in Ridge Racer 7. Being new to Ridge Racer, let me know in the comment section there guys, what are your go-to Ridge Racer games? This one is called Ridge Racer 7, so there must have been 6 other games prior to this. Let me know what are the best Ridge Racer games and experiences that you guys have had. I'm not entirely sure who is hosting this game server. I see that this game was created by Namco Bandai, but if and when these servers actually go offline, I did manage to capture some data packets again for all of these games for the sake of online preservation. And that's one of the things I really want to hit home with the PlayStation 3. It is going on 17 years old. A lot of these games are starting to be shut down, and some of these games have online trophies, right? And with games that do have these online trophies, it's a true bummer because if you are a trophy hunter and it's tied to the platinum, you're going to be out of luck to get them. Fortunately, there are some great private hobbyist groups out there that are bringing and reviving and keeping online preservation for these games alive. I think of PlayStation Rewired, PlayStation Online Network Emulated, and PlayStation Online Returnal Gaming. In regards to Ridge Racer 7, this game does not have any trophies. It did not get any patches for trophy support. Perhaps this is wishful thinking here, but I wish online trophies were really not a thing, or if game developers would be able to patch out games that no longer have it online, and so only the trophies that are tied to the main game offline is feeding to the platinum trophy. And if you had earned the online trophies when it was operational, then you can add those as a bonus. Anyway, I had a good time playing Ridge Racer 7. The controls were smooth, frame rate overall was smooth, and for a game that came out almost 17 years ago and being a launch title, this is a fun game and it seems to be quite easy to find other players on the weekend. If you guys have Ridge Racer 7, give this game a shot. Let me know if you find other players, as this game is an international game where you can play all across the world. Good times, good racing awaits. You didn't think we're going to stop racing there in Ridge Racer, right? In Driver. Well, there's one other game that I wanted to quickly check out. This is Blur. Not ever played it before, but one pal basically described it as Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing with legitimate authentic cars. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's give this game a shot. It's hard to believe it, but this game came out on May 25th, 2010. Again, like I said in the earlier part of this series, it's hard to believe that it's been that long. Anyway, I'm rocking the BMW. I'm grabbing some power-ups here, checking what all these power-ups do. This is my first race, never played this game before, and I gotta say that it is really kind of cool. I'm liking it. I had no idea what weapons and power-ups I was picking up at this point. I was just trying to get my bearings of how the controls feel. There, I just ran into that mine right there, but just getting how the controls and the overall sound and graphics, and I gotta say again, first impression here undoubtedly is pretty darn cool. What was really neat about this game is that it didn't take long to find a match at all, and I was recording this, it was on a Monday night, which out of all the days I thought it was going to be hard to find, this game I found a match so quick that I was just taken awe by it. But yeah, I'm guessing there's players that play this quite often on PlayStation 3, and I'm glad I was able to get a game going on. I didn't realize this because I'm not in a full lobby, but according to the game's manual, it's telling me that I can compete up against the 20 other players. I would love to see what this game's like in a full game lobby, if that is true, with 20 players in a game mode. I'm sure that'd be quite the havoc and destruction that would follow suit. You guys are gonna have to tell me in the comments there, guys, what a 20 player lobby or game mode that's going on is like, because again, I could only imagine it being quite chaotic but also reckless and fun. I'm reading up, and it looks like there's about 5 different multiplayer modes. You got Motor Mash, which supports up to 2 to 20 players. Basically, the goal of that is simply damaging other players' cars. You got a Skirmish mode, which is a traditional race. And then I see that there's a Powered Up Racing, where it has 2 to 20 players. And of course, you got Supercar Racing. Basically, it looks like it's only supercars or Class A cars. And then there's a team racing mode where you have 2 teams that battle out for first place. I'm guessing that was a neat mode I want to check out. And then the last mode I see here, which is like World Tour, which is a quick play mode. But wow, there's some really good amount of modes available in this game. Another neat thing that I'm reading up on is that if you reach rank 3, you can start unlocking modifications to your vehicles. So you can improve your car's health, you can get upgrade to your power-ups that you pick up, and give unique bonuses. I'm not sure what the unique bonuses would be, but let me know in the comment section what you guys have discovered, but it looks like there's some really neat fun to be had here. My friend Land161, who partook with me in Driver San Francisco, he was telling me that Blur was supposed to get a sequel at some point, but unfortunately it was cancelled. I'm kind of disappointed to see that, because I could see what promise is here. You got your basic, attacks of missiles, you got some defending, but yeah, it's really neat concept where you have licensed cars rocking the Volkswagen Beetle right now, trying to chase down these other exotic Japanese and German European cars, and just seeing how it goes. It's really darn cool. And looking at this game was developed by Bizarre Creations. I know them quite well for the days of the original Xbox. They actually developed a game called Project Gotham Racing, which spawned to be quite the hit for the original Xbox console with its racing. To sum things up, the game Blur is alive. Many players seem to be playing this. I definitely need to check out its online 20-player game player modes that are available. I need to check out the modifications one can do with the vehicles, and overall just had a great time playing. Controls felt good and smooth, and I enjoyed the power-ups where you can play this game similar to like Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart. Great stuff all around. A game I'm going to be revisiting and hopefully participate in some sort of Discord PlayStation 3 event. With that all said and done, let's move on to the next game. Anyone remember the golden days of EA games? Where you had EA Games, EA Sports, and EA Sports Big. Yes, EA Sports Big. Let me know, guys, real quick. Do you guys happen to have a favorite EA Sports Big game? When it comes to EA Sports Big, for me, again, SSX Tricky is definitely up there, but I gotta give shoutouts to NFL Street 2. I enjoyed that game so much with its online. One day, I hope to see that game come back through a revived PlayStation 2 online service, but it's a bit of a pipe dream, but we'll see. Good times. SSX, this is a series that I remember playing a ton on PlayStation 2. The first SSX and SSX Tricky. Yeah, those two were some of the best snowboarding games I can remember to date. But today, we are looking at SSX that came out on February 28th, 2012 in North America. This game is going on 11 years old at this point. It's pretty wild, but just so you guys know, the online is still readily available on the PlayStation 3 console. I was quite puzzled how to do the online for SSX 2012, but it turns out that EA Canada released an update to this game a little later in its life cycle, which allowed you to do player versus player racing on the snowboards, trick attacks. The event you want to look for are called 3, 2, 1, go. First thing you want to do is go down to global events, press X on that, press X on browse globe, and then choose where you want to go. So for this example, I'm going to pick Alaska. And now that we're here, I'm going to go choose Foraker. And now that we're here at Foraker, you want to look for the ones that say 3, 2, 1 go events here. So I've not seen one just yet. I'm going to move on to the next one. Not there, not there. Boom, right there. So now that you see where it says this is a 3, 2, 1 go event, you can join that. However, this heat actually costs 500,000. I do not have that, but definitely look out for these events 3, 2, 1 go. Invite a friend, and then you guys can both compete against each other. This update was free and continues to be free, which allows you up to 5 players to compete simultaneously in a race or a trick event. The other mode is called Free Ride, where you can just play and hang out with other players on a mountain of your choice, just riding around. It's kind of like the free skate in Tony Hawk Pro Skater. After learning more about the 3, 2, 1 go, I did see other games that other players were in, but unfortunately I did not have the high enough credits to participate. Some of them were in the hundreds of thousands, maybe almost 1 million credits to join in. So I just kept it simple. I asked my brother again to participate and play, and he was graciously enough able to join me, and we both had a good time playing some SSX. Right here we're just playing some trick attack mode, hanging around, enjoying it. He's was pretty darn good at these SSX games back on PlayStation 2, and I'm just trying out the actually newer mode where basically you're able to use the right analog stick and the L2 and R2 triggers to do combos, whereas he was doing the classic face buttons like square, triangle, circle, and yeah, he was kicking my butt for a good while there. There are some levels that my brother and I played that were deadly, meaning that if you did not have a wingsuit, you were SOL. You were out of luck, and what you had to do is wait for the other player to finish up the race. Moral of the story is prepare your rider before you start some of the events, because they can be death traps. If you had fallen off the cliff or into a hole, it's quite brutal, but the game does advise you to bring a wingsuit and other specific armor and updates to your character before doing, but it is your own risk if you want to do that. For the time being, we are quite fortunate to see that this game being 11 years old, the servers are still online and operational. Who knows what the future holds? Maybe EA Sports is going to be announcing a new list of games that might be decommissioned and retired in the year 2024, but knock on wood that SSX is not one of them, but if you guys haven't already played SSX and you want to check it out on your PS3 and check out its online features, the game is still up and operational. Well, in closing comments there, guys, I gotta say, certainly had some fun playing SSX with my brother here online. I definitely want to confirm that it was still up and running, and hopefully you guys will be able to play this game online by knowing that you have to just go to the 3, 2, 1 go in the global event section to invite your friends, and it's quite good time. Let's move on to the next game.
X-Men.
Man, this is a throwback. A throwback indeed. X-Men, the arcade game, created by Konami, originally released in 1992 and was released on the PlayStation 3 on December of 2010. But my goodness gracious, this is giving me goosebumps on my goosebumps coming back to this classic game. X-Men, the arcade game. I have fond memories of playing this at a place called Johnny Z's. It was a place in town where you can go to watch movies, have a dinner, but also they had a awesome arcade zone where you can play all the latest arcade games at the time, and this was one of them, along with the Simpsons, the arcade game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, NFL Blitz. Man, there were so many. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. It was wild. It was a great time growing up in the 90s. As a 90s kid myself, I remember going to see some movies, but then right after a movie, I would be all up in arms playing some of these games, and man, they would soak up all my quarters, but man, it was a blast to be had, having a drink of soda, having a little treat, some pizza. It was a great kid's life for me. Fortunately enough, I asked my brother if he wanted to play this, and man, it was a darn good rootin' tootin' time. It is such a nostalgia trip. I love the graphics, I like the sprites, I like the sound effects. It's just a fun time around. I bet this game on the original hardware, the arcade cabinet, to this day looks amazing. I know there are some fantastic people out there that are restoring such old classic arcade cabinets, replacing capacitors and vital electronic components. I see that at some of my local retro game stores where they like to refurbish, recondition, and install brand new CRT tubes in them where they can run and they look glorious. Unfortunately, I think this game is no longer able to be purchased in North America. I confirmed it with the PlayStation Network store on my PS3 in Canada. I wasn't able to find it, but luckily we had an old download in our download catalog, and so we decided to go ahead and play it. It was a really neat time revisiting such a classic, going through the old download list of games that my brother and I bought all those years ago, and the online works great. My brother is playing as Dazzler, and yours truly decided I gotta play Wolverine. Shout out to my pal Stewie. You know who you are. You know when I asked that question, which X-Men I should play in this game. Heck yeah, man, we're rocking the good Wolverine. Right off the bat, you have 6 different X-Men you can play as. You got Cyclops, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Dazzler. Again, those are some pretty heavy hitters, exception that I'm not familiar with Dazzler, to be honest, so that's why my brother decided to check her out. But yeah, as you can see, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, and right now we are fighting a boss. I want to say this is Pyro. It looks like Pyro from the X-Men comics. Another bonus is that if you own this, it also includes the Japanese version of the game. My brother and I did not test it out, but I'm quite curious to see what the changes are. Maybe there's difference in like the sprite characters, maybe there's difference in certain power-up pickups. I'm not entirely sure, but if you guys know, please let me know in the comment section. It's definitely neat to come back to these classic games, know that they're still alive and well, and I would be curious to see if there will be any more modern renditions. Again, this game came out on PlayStation 3 in December of 2010, So we're going on almost 13 years ago at this point. I would love to see if maybe Konami would make some sort of compilation on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and I would have to see if this has ever made its way onto the PC side on Steam or Good Old Games. Here's my brother and I fighting the Blob. This guy's got a strange voice. Let's see if we can hear him talk real quick.
Nothing moves the block.
My brother and I are just putting him in his place, punishing him with all our strikes, with all of our power. But man, I gotta say, this game is a gem. If you do have it still on your PlayStation Network download list, go fire this game up right now. If you got any family members local, this game also supports local co-op, or like what my brother and I were doing, online co-op is such a thing. And I bet this game is such a treat when you have full-on 6 players, having the entire X-Men roster fighting against these bosses. It's probably just too darn good. I don't know if the games scale to having more players, but there it is. We took down the Blob. We got our little bonus.
X-Men! We have been taken by Magneto. However, we had time to locate their base on Island M.
Hey, we got ourselves a trophy along the way. I like it. Yeah, a lot of these other games had little trophies enabled. That's good stuff, man. Anyway, that sums up X-Men, the arcade game on PlayStation 3. The game is still online and operational. If you do have this game, like I said, it's the time to fire it up and revisit some good old Marvel X-Men. I remember the days of Bomberman. I think it first started in the 80s, but as a kid that grew up in the 90s, my first Bomberman game was Bomberman 64 on the Nintendo 64. Here we are, we're checking out Bomberman Ultra. I remember playing little bits of this game back in the day. It came out around June of 2009, so it's getting a little older now. But this game was actually suggested to me by the individual named Alex from one of the PlayStation Discord communities that I'm a part of. And I'm glad I did. I had a good amount of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't find any other active players, so once again, I asked my brother, and kindly enough, he graciously gave us some time and some gameplay content for me to play. The gameplay is quite simple in this particular mode. Right now, I'm the Bomberman with the peg leg, and basically, I'm trying to blow him up while I'm still trying to protect myself with the bricks. But as you can see, we get in these power-ups and they start blowing up the bricks in multiple different directions. And just right there, I killed myself and my brother did at the same time. It was wild how that just happened. So I wanted to verify. It turns out Bomberman came out in 1983, which means that this game is, or this series is 40 years old. That's wild. I wonder, I gotta look up what the first generation Bomberman games look like, but man, certainly have come a long way. And again, I think of Bomberman 64 being my gateway into the series. It kind of gave me that Mario Party vibes and energy with my other friends and other classmates. It was just a silly time where we would be eating pizza and donuts, candies, and drinking all the soda pops and feeling like we're stoned off the sugar. It was a wild time. I don't know why Bomberman makes me think of that. Oh, and one thing I wanted to quickly mention, the PlayStation Store still has this game listed and is available to be purchased. When I went and looked at the price, it was currently on a sale of $10, but I'm not too sure what the average price is when it's not on a sale. I'm guessing no more than $15 Canadian. To sum things up, Bomberman Ultra is still playable in the year 2023 on your PlayStation 3. It's a cute little game and a lot of neat customization to your Bomberman, and I definitely need to check out the other game modes. With that said, let's move on to the next game. Did you know the game director and creator David Jaffe, who is well known for creating God of War on the PlayStation 2, the Twisted Metal games, as well as one of the games that I enjoyed back on the Sega Genesis, called Hook, which was based off the movie of Peter Pan with Robin Williams. Created this game back in May of 2007. What is quite interesting about Calling All Cars, this game can be played local co-op, solo play, and online. Now what's really interesting about the online play, the official servers that Sony was running were shut down many years ago, but fortunately the team at PS1, which stands for PlayStation Online Network Emulated, this revival group actually brought this game back a few years ago. It is a breeze and simple to get yourself back online in Calling All Cars. All you have to do is change your primary DNS server on your PlayStation 3 to the DNS that's provided on the PlayStation 1 Network Emulated website, and you're good to go. Now, I didn't have any other players I could find in this game, but fortunately, again, my brother came in clutch and we were just playing around in Calling All Cars. But I do remember playing this game in its prime, having multiple players at the same time. It could be quite the wreckage and havoc where you're trying to capture as many robbers as you can before the time expires or if you reach the limit. I believe this game does a great job that creates a fun and enjoyable and a great atmosphere of that old style cartoon and violence, but not taking it too serious. It's definitely, you can see a little bit of influences, like I mentioned about David Jaffe. I remember the days when people would be using microphones with this game, and they'd be trash talking, not like verbal nonsense, but just straight up like, "I got you now, you're not gonna get me, Dark Master. You don't got the skills to pay the bills." Stuff like that. It was quite hilarious. And I do have good news, because this is only a downloadable title. This game is still available on the PlayStation Store for PlayStation 3. When I looked up the price at this time of recording, it was $9.99 Canadian. Hopefully more players will come back to this and play it through the online emulated server through PS1. It's a good time, and I definitely want to try this game again with more players, that 4-player full lobby. I remember it would be frantic, hilarious, the trash talking was real, and you gotta risk it for the biscuit to grab that massive payout when you return a robber to the slammer. In closing, Calling All Cars is back online. It can be played on your PlayStation 3. All you have to do is just change your DNS to the DNS that PlayStation Online Network Emulated has up and running, and you're good to go. Also, I will have their link to their Discord so you guys can check it out, and if you're looking for other players to matchmake, that is a good start if you're looking for a good frantic lobby. Alright, let's move on to the next game. Heck yeah, we are in it there, guys. This is Transformers Fall of Cybertron. This is my first Transformers game on PlayStation 3. I haven't played any Transformer game, I think, since the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 era. This game came out on August 21st, 2012 for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, and then a couple years later it came onto PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One consoles. If I read this right, in the year 2020, many of the Transformer games were taken offline. That's always a bummer when a game service goes offline and trophies would be unobtainable. However, the team at Transformers Re-Energized project were able to bring this game back alive on the PlayStation 3 and the PC. For us PlayStation 3 players, it is truly simple to get back online. All you have to do is change your primary DNS on your PlayStation 3 console in the network settings. Once you've saved your network settings, apply the changes, and you are now ready to roll and dive into the world of Fall of Cybertron. In addition, there is a Re-Energized community Discord if you're ever looking for players to matchmake with, but I didn't actually do that. I just decided to turn the game on, put the DNS server in, and bam, we just found ourselves an online co-op game. And speaking about multiplayer and online modes, Transformers Fall of Cybertron has a variety of different competitive game modes and the online co-op mode, as you guys are seeing on the screen right now. This co-op mode is called Escalation. The Escalation mode is a co-op survival game that can be played with 4 other players. Each player takes on a specific role for either the Autobots or the Decepticons, and together you basically gotta survive as many waves of enemies as possible. The max amount of wave is wave 15, and as you can see here, we're on wave 14 and things are getting spicy. And this is actually my first time playing the Escalation mode. And another good point I want to make clear, this reminded me bits of Mass Effect 3's online co-op. In Mass Effect 3, what you'd be doing is fighting waves of enemies for up to 10 rounds, and then you have certain objectives. Now in this particular mode, I didn't notice any particular objectives that we had to do besides just eliminate and destroy all the other enemy types that were coming at us. But nonetheless, it seems like a cool game mode, and I think that if everyone had a microphone and we understood each of our specific roles, things would just work so much better. But for my first time playing Escalation, it seems like a good time around. You got the classic other PvP modes that can be played. You got Team Deathmatch, Conquest mode, where you basically are capturing these specific computer nodes located throughout the map and then scoring points when you do capture them. Then you have Capture the Flag, where you're basically going to grab the flag, bring it back to your own base. And the last mode is called Headhunter. Basically, when a player dies, they drop a certain little orb, it's called the spark, onto the floor. Score points by picking that little spark unit there and return it back to your node. The team with the most amount of sparks will be the winner of the Headhunter mode. Those last 3 modes I mentioned, Conquest, Capture the Flag, and Headhunter, I didn't have any luck finding any players in those 3 modes, but as you're seeing right now, we are playing some Team Deathmatch, and first impression on the Team Deathmatch, I am getting Unreal Tournament vibes. I don't know why. It could probably be the jumping around, turning into a little tank to get around quicker. The weapons that I'm using right now kind of reminds of like a little shotgun. The widespread bullets that's going on, and the green ooze I see, and just everything. It kind of reminds me of Unreal Tournament 3. Right off the bat, when I joined the Team Deathmatch, I noticed that there's 4 different classes you can choose from. There's Infiltrator, Destroyer, Titan, and Scientist. I decided to try out the Infiltrator. It seemed like the most basic and it's probably the easiest class to just get used to. Basically, they rely on doing some hit and run tactics, pretty much on the larger foes because of our special and light armor. This is the only class with a cloak ability, which was kind of cool too, as you can see I'm doing right there for a split second. And here we go. We are transforming into the Batmobile. Nah, I'm just kidding. It definitely gave me vibes of the Batmobile. We got those cool blue flames, sound effects going on. And then here's my first kill in the game right now. It felt really good. As someone that never played this online PvP until that moment there, it felt really good to get my first kill. So after that last round there, I realized that there's actually a character in-depth customization available. You can tweak your armor so for your chest, arms, and leg areas. There's also loadouts where you can change out your specific primary, secondary weapons with upgrades and abilities. And I saw that there's a personality section which allows you to change your character's voice, color, and name. I thought that was a nice little personal touch there. To summarize everything, Transformers Fall of Cybertron is back online for your PlayStation 3. All you have to do is change your primary DNS numbers on your console to the ones I showed earlier, and you're now ready to roll and play some online co-op games or the PvP like I am. Man, this was a neat experience. I need to check out the other Transformers games because maybe they have specific unique game modes, specific type of gameplay that's different. I'm not entirely sure, but if you're interested to check out Transformers, here is the Transformers Re-Energized project and their Discord. You can meet up with other players, check out what other games are currently supported, and the community seems to be alive and poppin'. Beyond any doubt, Transformers Fall of Cybertron is worth your time to have a look in the year 2023. Alright, let's move on to the next game.
Resident Evil Revelations. What?
Resident Evil Revelations.
What a way to start. I get one up by the guy with that deep, eerie voice about Resident Evil, but anyway, here we go, guys. This is Resident Evil Revelations 1 on the PlayStation 3. This game came out on February 7th, 2012 in North America. Something I remember about Resident Evil Revelations is that I was working at Best Buy at the time, and the 3DS was selling like hotcakes still. The Resident Evil Revelations first came out on Nintendo 3DS, but what was interesting was that on the spine where it would show the name of the game, there was a spelling incorrection that was going on. I thought it was quite funny how it said Resident Evil Revelations instead of Resident Evil Revelations. We got some Resident Evil Revelations, the raid mode online. As I mentioned in part 2 of this series, I wanted to check out Resident Evil Revelations because I was told from the Discord communities and a couple comments on YouTube that this game was still online. I've beaten this game many years ago on the PC, but I had no idea about the online raid mode. It plays pretty much like you would expect in the online co-op games of Resident Evil 5 and 6 so far. However, it is much smaller in scale. Bite-sized areas that are part of the main story that you go through. Essentially, the objective is to go through the map, clear out all the enemies, collect some keys, and then once you get like the main key to open up the next area, the level is over and you're completed. Basically, you just do that throughout the game, but hey, it's quite fun. I enjoy it, and fortunately, it didn't take too long to find a partner to play in this game. I actually picked this game up, and I was thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll have some luck like I did in Resident Evil 5 and 6, but fortunately, the luck is still going strong. I was able to find a match pretty quick in Revelations 1. Things can get quite competitive in the raid mode. There's like 4 factors that come into mind. 1, you want to be as accurate as possible with your shots on the enemies. 2, kill as many enemies as you can. 3, take less damage as your other teammate does. And 4 is the clear time. For example, on a previous mission, I was able to get a good clear time. I got some good experience. Accuracy was decent. Enemies that I took down and the damage that I took. You might be asking, how are the controls? Well, good news there, guys. This game plays quite similar to what you expect of Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, and even Resident Evil 4 for that matter. And if I remember, as you level up, you can start unlocking different characters and character outfits. But for this sequence, I decided to stay as Jill Valentine, being one of my favorite Resident Evil characters through the series. As you level up, you start unlocking different weapons that you can purchase, other weapon modifiers and upgrades, but it's pretty standard affair with your Resident Evil games that you expect, and it's quite enjoyable. I've not ever beaten all the levels in the raid mode, but one of my objectives now is to play and beat all the raid modes and perhaps even get the highest tier ranks if I can. And another thing I wanted to quickly touch upon is that Capcom hasn't come out and mentioned that this game's going to be shutting down anytime soon for the PlayStation 3. So that's great news. I don't know if Capcom has that in the mind or that they will, but for the time being, in the year 2023, you can still play Resident Evil Revelations online.
Okay, managed to get through that.
Very good job.
Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Resident Evil.
Let me know, guys, who did it better. Was it my voice with some little filters, or was it the original Resident Evil narrator guy? Anyway, we are now playing some Resident Evil Revelations 2. This is the raid mode. Looks like this game came out on February 25th, 2015. So this game is going on 8 years old at this point. So what I noticed was quite different from starting Revelations 1 to Revelations 2. There's an online level that you have to complete on your own. Basically, it's a tutorial, a dry run, so you can feel what the game is all about. Now, this is my first time playing Resident Evil Revelations 2 raid mode. I do own this game as well on the PlayStation 4, and I remember playing the story with my pal Raw Gaming. but I never dabbled into the raid mode, and I gotta say it feels quite similar and familiar to the raid mode in Revelations 1. But one thing I did notice, which is more like in line with Resident Evil 6, is that you can move and aim at the same time, whereas Revelations 1 you have to aim and then you kind of have to pick your shots and stand still, whereas this you can move and shoot at the same time. So when I was playing this, it did not take long to find any players. It was pretty wild, and it was quite late on a Sunday night. I was kind of risking it for the biscuit, seeing if there's anyone on. Normally, I like to check these PlayStation 3 games on a Friday night, Saturday, usually around then, because Sundays and Mondays throughout the week, not too common time. But I lucked out, and I found this fellow here, and we were having a good time. As this has been common throughout this whole series of games that I've covered for the PlayStation 3, I've noticed it's just not common for players to have a microphone. Again, I know it's an older console, not too many people use Bluetooth headsets, but I just want to throw this out there, guys. If you have a Logitech webcam, an old iToy that was on the PlayStation 2, or even the PlayStation Eye that came out on the PlayStation 3, you can use those as microphones. Maybe one thing I just want to specify, your webcam that's a Logitech, you make sure it has a microphone built in. Otherwise, it's just be a webcam. Because this is my first time playing Revelations 2 online, I didn't have any other characters readily available, but this is Claire Redfield, and it gave me the option to be like a cowgirl, I guess that's what it is. I thought that was an interesting outfit. I know Capcom usually likes to spice things up, throw a little flair in there from time to time in their Resident Evil costumes. Now, I don't know why, but these enemies that we're fighting, it reminds me of something you would see like in the Supernatural, like they're the undead. I honestly don't remember too much of the story of this game because it's been such a long time, but the sound effects that they make when they spawn in, you'll probably hear it right now. That sound effect right there, that whatever that is, it just gives me chills. I just don't know why. I get goosebumps on my goosebumps when I hear that sound. So before or after completing a mission, you're kind of in a hub world. It reminds me of the old typewriter save game areas. But yeah, so here's a workbench that you can actually do upgrades to your weapons. You can start equipping certain parts if you have them. You can buy it from, there's a little shop that's another little desk that you can access. But yeah, seems to be a little more in-depth upgrades and customization you can do in this game compared to the first Revelations 1 in its raid mode. So after completing my last round, I found this other fellow. I think he's from Japan, and my goodness gracious, if you guys needed to do like online boosting to level up your characters in the raid mode, this guy here is a champion. I don't know if he's beaten the game or if he's just unlocked everything, but he just absolutely destroys everything, like literally one shot. I think his weapons are buffed to the max. And here I got myself a pea shooter, only dealing 1 damage per bullet, and his bullets were doing like 1,000. It was wild. That round took less than like a minute and a half. It was wild. I am glad that I was around, and this fellow here is a true champ. Look at all these medallions I'm getting. Look at this bar. I started off that night with only level 1, and I think I got to level 2 with the other fellow. But with this guy, I just ranked up, leveled up multiple times, getting all these different skill points. And look, I'm getting all these different parts. I think they are for weapons. And look at that. It is wild. Look at the amount of experience points that I was just there, just for the ride. He was like, hey pal, come on over, I'm gonna boost you. It was wild, but it was a fun time just to see that. In a nutshell, both Resident Evil Revelations 1, Revelations 2, their online raid modes are still lively, It seems quite populated on the weekends. It's a good time all around, and they do have some online trophies, so if you are a trophy hunter, it might be wise to look into getting this game done, because you never know when the servers may go offline. I'll definitely update you guys if I hear anything. I'm going to keep a close eye on Capcom. Again, it seems like most of the Capcom online servers for all their Resident Evil games on PlayStation 3 are still quite operational. This dynamic duo needs no introduction. We got the classic mascots for the last 3 generations of PlayStation. It is Ratchet and Clank. We are checking out Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault, also known as Ratchet and Clank Q-Force in Europe, Australia, and Japan regions of the world. Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault released on November 27, 2012, and around the same time in European and Japanese regions. The PlayStation Vita version of the game came out on May 21st, 2013. When I was going through my list of online enabled games for PlayStation 3, I was excited to finally get around to checking out some Ratchet and Clank. I have not personally beaten any Ratchet and Clank to this day, but I totally remember reliving my mid-2000s kind of a tween teenager and really liking Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal for its multiplayer, as well as Ratchet Deadlocked. Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault sports 3 different modes. You can play this game solo in single player campaign, which is all good. You can also play this in local couch co-op, which is great, along with online co-op, which my brother and I are doing, and there is a competitive multiplayer mode. The competitive multiplayer mode revolves around each player protecting their own base and attacking the enemy base. So it's basically like the current campaign that we're doing, but it's against a player instead. So in Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault, your objective is to protect your home base. As you get more bolts and upgrades to weapons and specific defensive turrets and mines, you basically want to continue to protect your home base, but also progress in the level. As you progress in the level, you'll have more different enemy types approaching you, and there's some strategy involved. Now, when you have a second player, like my brother and I here, it does make things a little bit more simple and enjoyable. Simply put, Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault sports the classic Ratchet and Clank formula you would expect, has all the range of amazing weapons in your arsenal, along with the tower defense mechanics where you're going back to your own base to protect and advance through the levels as you see other enemies and other places you need to capture and complete. So you guys might be asking, is this game active? Can I find another player to play with easily? Well, I gotta be blunt with you guys here. My buddy TehTurkey spent 2 hours waiting for someone to play this game with him. After waiting basically 2 hours at this point, someone finally joined his lobby and was able to get a game going. I think he spent a couple hours doing some trophy hunting with the other guy, which worked out a win-win situation. And I remember when I was doing this, before I asked my brother, I waited a good hour and I didn't have anyone join my game. So it might vary on the weekend, but I know there are players out there, especially who are looking to get the trophies for these games, because there are a few online trophies in Full Frontal Assault. Because of me playing this game, it's now giving me that craving. I need to play the Ratchet and Clank series, do a full series playthrough. I've had my brother and several friends tell me it is fantastic, and as a big fan of Jak and Daxter, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and the first Sly Cooper game, it only makes sense to check out the dynamic duo in Ratchet and Clank. In conclusion, Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault on your PlayStation 3 is still alive and kicking. However, you may run into some difficulty finding another player for quick matchmaking. That's when I would recommend you join one of the PlayStation Online Discords. You may find some people who are interested and people that might be interested for trophy hunting. Overall, I had a good time playing this and has piqued my interest to look further into the Ratchet and Clank lore and the series in general. With that said, let's continue our journey and see what is next. Well guys, we've made it to the end of the road. If you all have stuck around for this long, thank you very much. It's great to have you guys all here. And we are checking out Ratchet and Clank All for One. Ratchet and Clank All for One released on October 18th, 2011 and around the same time in European and Australian regions. I had the great pleasure of playing this game with my friend TehTurkey. Many of you guys may know him now from the Discord communities, but I know many of you guys that are used to watch the broadcast on Twitch know who TehTurkey is. He needs no introduction, but I'll have his links in the description below to his YouTube channel and his Twitch channel. We both recorded commentary for this game when we were playing it, so I'm going to pass it on to both of us and enjoy some of the commentary and what our thoughts about this game is. I guess that's a checkpoint we just got.
I want to see how that swinging mechanic works with all 4 players.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
One day
See
to
what
Tim,
happens.
hey, what y'all doing, buds? Oh. Hey, Dorian, jump and then press square.
Oh.
Oh. R2 and
R2's
square to throw your attack. Oh.
Oh. No.
Now, I know that you can play this game single player. It's just a worse experience because the game is built around multiplayer. I wonder how it's like on single.
Yeah.
Triangle to hook shots.
I wonder if you have an AI character, possibly, that follows you. I'm not sure, though.
It could be.
Oh, I got a trophy.
Restore health.
Quick
Yeah,
killer.
okay.
Oh. We gotta kind of drive this, I guess. Wait, I don't know.
Are we going to... Are we...
I don't know. I don't
Shift
know.
wait to stare at your...
Oh,
to
left.
the left, to the left.
To the right. And the left. We're fine. We're fine. Everything is fine. We're good. This is perfect
this is
driving.
really cool. I'm liking it so far. Are we supposed to do something here?
I don't know.
Oh.
Plot. Oh. Oh.
Here we go.
The grinds. This is iconic Ratchet for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Is it boss time?
I think so.
Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, he's healing.
Oh, it's healing. Okay. Oh.
Sorry, kid.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we gotta go.
Some Indiana Jones stuff going on.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. This game throws you for a loop.
Yeah. We're back on the
go
grind.
up or... There we go. Sideways this time. Oh no, he's coming after us. Oh no.
Oh no.
Some elderly cat lady on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Cool.
L1 rockets, R1 fire. L1.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Do we get power for doing the same one? Yeah, we did.
Oh, there we go.
Boom. Now him.
Oh, there's the main one there. Can we get it? So close. Awesome. There it is.
Oh, he's still on.
Oh, okay.
Smack his fingers off.
Get out of here.
There you go.
Hey, intergalactic tool of justice.
I got that too.
To sum things up, Ratchet and Clank All for One, the online co-op is still available and accessible in the year 2023 on your PS3. And big shout out again to my friend Turkey for playing and being able to join me in my co-op game session. It was a pleasure to have you along for the video and for the games. And I do look forward to playing more of this soon. Thank you guys for watching. I had a blast going through my old video game backlog and some games I recently purchased from the local retro game store, supporting my local businesses. And it was just a great time seeing what the PlayStation 3 has to offer for online play in the year 2023. This Back to the Future PlayStation 3 online gaming series has been so much fun. It's been fulfilling, and I've just brought my calculator, and it looks like we've covered about 48 different games over the last 3 videos. That is quite the extensive list of games I was able to cover. I know there are a lot more games on PlayStation 3 that are still online, and of course I gotta keep on harping about this, but I'm a big proponent for video game and online gaming preservation. knock on wood that we can see many of these older games come back to life. I'm looking at you, Batman Arkham Origins on PS3, and I'm also looking at these other games that are going to be shutting down, like Battlefield 1943, Battlefield Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, Dante's Inferno, Crysis 3. The names go on and on. I really do hope we can see these games come back in some sort of revived form. And then there are those amazing teams that have done terrific work in reviving the PS3, but not just the PS3, the PlayStation Portable and PlayStation 2. These groups like PlayStation Rewired, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation.org, they've been doing some great things for the console gaming and reviving of these classic games that we thought were lost, but they are coming back online. And of course, I must do also another quick shout out to the team at Transformers Re-Energized project. They have done a massive undertaking and revived pretty much, if not all, of the PlayStation 3 Transformers games that had multiplayer. And more importantly, thank you guys for watching and commenting and providing suggestions over the last 3 videos in this series. It's been a great time. As someone that used to do a lot of broadcasting on Twitch, this particular series has been a fun way to reconnect and connect with new audiences on this platform, and I look forward to more video creation on the platform here. I also want to give a quick shout out to the YouTube and content creator named Mach3. Mach3 has been creating a lot of PlayStation content over the last few months. If you're looking for more PlayStation 3 content, he's been covering an extensive list of other PlayStation 3 games, and more recently checking out on the Call of Duty games that are most active and other PlayStation games that you may or may not know that are alive. And with that all said, I just want to say once more, thank you very much for your time, kindness, and generosity and support. If you enjoyed the content and video here today, feel free to subscribe. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them down below, as I do like reading and answering questions and comments as soon as I can. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. And if you guys haven't already, here are some of the videos that you guys can check from part 1 and part 2 and a playlist. Thank you very much, and have yourself a great day.